You are a man with makeup on a mission. Is makeup freedom for you? What does it mean?
Makeup is a tool for me to be who I am, who I want to look like, and it gives me courage. 3 factors important to liberate yourself: people, places, and information.
What does it mean to be normal?
I think normal is the average of what you have experienced. You have to make somebody upset to change the society. Unless you are doing that, you are not really making changes.
What is the definition of self-love?
You decide to give the same amount of love to yourself, treating yourself when you need, being gentle and kind. I think that's self-love.
Have you watched Bollywood movies?
A lot.
Really? Which
Yes.
one? Tell me your favorite Bollywood movie.
I like PK,
Yeah?
Barfi,
Barfi?
Ranbir Kapoor.
You know that.
So there is one movie with Ranbir and Deepika. They go into the mountain, they fall in love, and I don't remember.
Coord, a Buddhist monk, an LGBTQ activist, a makeup artist, and an author. Words you don't hear in the same sentence. Welcome to Sustainability with Shreya. Thank you so much for doing this with me. It's an absolute honor. Thank you. Thank you for your courage, your voice, your bravery, all of that. As I said, the words, the multi-hyphenate personality that you are, it's not, I don't see those words being used commonly together.
Right.
How did that come to be?
Oh, so I was born in a temple, so that obviously has to do a lot with me being a Buddhist monk. And makeup artist, I really liked role-playing as princesses when I was young. So I was teaching how to dress up as Cinderellas to other friends.
You were teaching them how to dress
yes.
up as Disney princesses.
Yes. So as I grew older, I started to learn makeup and be able to teach makeup or do makeup for my friends. So that's how I kind of started to advance my passion of making something look beautiful or pretty. So that's how I became a makeup artist. Me being a Buddhist monk, it's because I wanted to know what my roots are. I wanted to get all the answers I had as a child growing up. What does it mean to be a Buddhist monk? What does Buddhist teach? And I became certified as a Buddhist monk. And now, because of this juxtaposition of 2 different identities, people started to want to interview me and write about me. And me being a homosexual person is kind of instantly makes me LGBTQ plus activist, because I wanted to fight for people who are still struggling, because this is something that was very close to me growing up, being closeted and feeling anxious and sometimes guilty. I didn't want to feel that way, because I didn't do anything wrong. But sometimes society labels us as being perverts or criminals because of some bad representations that they have seen. So I'm here to say that I'm a Buddhist monk, an artist, and also a homosexual, but there is nothing wrong with me, and I want people to update what homosexual people are or what Buddhist monks can do.
What was that journey like for you?
So I grew up watching Sailor Moon. Do you know Sailor Moon?
No.
No, it's like a magic girl animation where the girls transform into superheroes or superheroines with magic and then fight the evils. I wanted to be a superhero who stand up for justice and kind of teach what is correct to people who are kind of confused. So I wanted to be a strong person who kind of wake people up from maybe a lot of injustice that I saw growing up, because, for example, women serving tea just because they are women, or not having equal opportunities or equal pay. I don't think that's correct.
That's
So
what happens today.
that's why I wanted to empower people that we deserve everything that other people do. And just because of the sexuality or sex or any differences. I think we should always value ourselves, that we have potential, and we should not be seen below by anybody. So that's why I wanted to fortify myself. I went to study in the US and I learned makeup. I kind of understood the history of LGBTQ people, which was that religion sometimes marginalize LGBTQ people because they don't welcome children as straight people might.
Is that the only reason? Is that why religions discriminate against the LGBT?
I think there are many, many reasons, but I think when there are wars and if people in power see LGBTQ couples, they don't really expect the couples welcoming children. And during the war, maybe the more people you have, the stronger it is, right?
Does that still apply to our society today to think that way?
Do I think that's still applied?
Yeah.
I think people are still confused because that's how people in power brainwashed people who who are maybe not living for the merit of the country or the territory.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to upgrade this mindset. I sometimes call it post-war syndrome, that we feel like we have to strive for better and not give up and sacrifice ourselves, welcome children and get married at a certain age. But we are not, at least me, I'm not living in that reality today. So, and there are many, many people who are living in a different reality than when my grandparents were alive. In that time, people were not able to wear something colorful, or women were not given the same rights. They were given specific tasks just because of the sexual organs. That I don't think is everything. Now we are able to maximize our potential because of our personality or ability. And I think that's what I want to kind of emphasize to other people. So I knew that I was okay being homosexual, but because of the societal brainwash or cultural values that people grow up with, I felt that it was safer for me to hide it. But now I have learned the history, and I feel that I have somewhat accomplished some things.
You've accomplished a lot.
Thank you. So I would love to give hopes and make a path for other people who want to follow their passion or not feel guilty for being who they are. So yes, for me, like the journey is almost like an anime, like me starting out kind of genuine and kind of a little bit naive and ignorant, to a point where I gain experiences, and now I'm trying to fight for others.
It's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
In a complete circle. But what was that journey like from you, from hiding who you were to coming out and now being so vocal and loud and proud about it?
Yes.
What did you go through in that process to stop hiding who you were and to just embrace this identity, embrace what you were feeling, and let your insides reflect on the outside as well?
Thank you. I always think that 3 factors are important to liberate yourself. One is meet people who don't come from the same background. Go to a place that you didn't grow up in, and then gain more information. So people, places, and information. Because the values that I grew up with came from Tokyo. Living in this area, watching the TV that everybody watches around me. But when I went to, for example, Spain, people don't watch the same TV, and people have different understanding and impression on LGBTQ people. My friends, my first homosexual friends, were holding hands with his boyfriend at the time and kissing, like a little kiss in the train. And I felt that, is that safe to do that? You wouldn't be stopped in the, maybe you will experience hate crime. But they were fine, and they took me to a gay club where everybody was very direct and expressive about their love for other people. When I went to a school in New York, an art school, my professors were gay and married, and they show me that regardless of your sexuality, you can be successful and elite professors who are excellent at advising other people. So these experiences, knowing different normals outside of your world, was very liberating for me.
Different normals. I like the word I use, normal.
Right.
What does it mean to be normal?
I think normal is the average of what you have experienced. So the concept of normal for people who grew up here or somebody who traveled around the world and lived different normals like you will be totally different. So I think when somebody uses normal, I think it kind of shows how much experience you have in your life.
But that can also mean that you're different from other people, that you're difficult, so to speak, that you don't think the same way that other people do, you don't feel the same things, you don't have the same biases for that matter. And people tend to label you as difficult or the activist or someone who's very outspoken about things. How do you deal with that?
I think what we need to pay attention to is the motivation for what you do. Maybe, well, when I was younger, I was sometimes wearing sunglasses because that's what I saw Europeans or Americans would wear in the magazines, and well, sunglasses are available. So I wore them, but my father told me that you could be misunderstood as a Yakuza, so don't wear them. But Yakuza is like Japanese mafia.
Okay.
Yeah, but in some parts you need sunglasses to protect your eyes, or it can be used for many fashion purposes. So I could be seen as a crazy from a person who only see gangs wearing sunglasses, but that's not the point. So if you have a broader knowledge, I think you can stand up for yourself, and you can also teach other people what would be a healthy and just solution. So oftentimes people are not so experienced, or they don't have the broader view, but I think we should be educational and informative enough so that they don't only see us as difficult or activist or crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. I like that. Use the word crazy, because we get labeled just as easily as we get labeled difficult. We get labeled crazy, but I think crazy are the people who see things before other people see them. There's this journey from being called crazy to brave, or being courageous, or being inspirational. And I'm sure you might have been through that when people didn't know who you were or what you were trying to do and why you were into makeup, and why, you might have said that you like boys, to now being the voice for so many people. Have you experienced that journey from what are you doing, I don't get this, to wow, this is inspiring?
Well, to kind of supplement what you just told me, I think you have to aggravate or make somebody upset to change the society. And unless you are doing that, you are not really making changes. So I think it's good when somebody gets upset, because unless we change what's real, we can't really protect people who are marginalized or oppressed today. So the more I kind of gain knowledge, I felt that it's okay to stay true to who I am, as long as I'm not trying to disturb or take advantage of other people. So that's how I kind of gain the confidence.
Sometimes staying true to yourself means you're hurting some people, or you're alienating some people, or you're breaking somebody's heart. How do you balance staying true to who you are versus not hurting somebody else?
I have to stay true to who I am, otherwise I'll get upset and I can explode and make more people feel hurt or maybe deceived. I think it's important to explain how I feel, and the only way to be truly happy is to stay true to who I am. And that ultimately, I think, is going to bring harmony, because if I'm afraid to break somebody's hearts and lying to my heart, then why am I alive? So I feel that I have to be happy first in order to make others happy is a key.
When you're on this path that looks different from everyone else's path, how do you find belonging? How do you not feel lonely? How do you not feel ostracized?
I think I have many friends and family who support me, that they never make me feel alone.
Even when you came out, when you came out to your family, your friends.
Right. I already had friends who are my friend from Spain. When I went to Barcelona, I made homosexual friends. They also felt lonely or guilty growing up, but they were supporting me that, your parents must love you for who you are. And they were supporting and loving enough that even if they are not existent in this world anymore, I'm sure that their support will keep living in me. So it doesn't have to be that they are next to me all the time. If you read stories or if you meet people, there are many stories that are so similar to yours. And if you know that you're not alone, then you don't actually have to have them next to you.
So finding community, finding like-minded people and people who support you.
Right. If you can't find them, it's hard. For example, when I was growing up in Japan, I didn't have any homosexual friends. And I thought that I might be the only one. I didn't know. I'm sure I was not the only one.
That's isolating.
Right. And the ones that I saw on TV were always made fun of or seen as perverted. So they didn't support me. But if you, for example, I started Googling gay or gay chat when I was in high school. I noticed that there are so many kids who are struggling with the same problems. So I realized that it's not just me.
Yeah. Knowing your sexual orientation was different and that you didn't really abide by the heteronormative laws or whatever is considered normal, did you think of becoming a monk then? Did you think that being a monk and being somebody who's different from a sexual identity or sexual orientation point of view, could those two go hand in hand?
I was very curious and questioning if it's okay for me to be a homosexual and become a monk, because all the monks I knew were heterosexual appearing and usually married to kind of run the business as a temple. And my father, when I was younger, used to tell me that if you want to inherit the temple, you'll need a wife because it's a demanding job just to do it yourself. So I was very afraid that if I could be okay and be welcomed. But towards the end of the training, my master, who is very venerated, he told me that sexuality does not matter at all. So you being homosexual does not matter, and you should be welcomed and be proud to be considered proud by Buddha and the founder of our school. So this conversation really fortified me that yes, it's not about being homosexual or heterosexual or married or not. It's more about teaching people how to live a balanced life. That's important, and it's not about my sexuality. So when you
come as you are and you're welcome as you are.
Yes. So yeah, I think we have to really understand what's the role of this occupation, and then if it has to do with anything related with my personal preferences.
So you're saying anybody, regardless of their sexual orientation, is accepted and welcomed in the Buddhist community, but does that apply to other religions? And why are other religions so afraid of this word and this community?
I think in my school, it's very accepting, but I'm not too sure about other religious or spiritual faith-based systems. I think there are many reasons, but I think it has to do with school rules. For example, schools teach English or math, but every school has different school rules. Maybe you can bring a cell phone to school, or maybe you can dye your hair or wear makeup, but some schools not. And sometimes we confuse that these teachings are also coming from the religious teachings, which is like the subject. So when math doesn't really tell you to not wear mascara, but we kind of confuse that that's the teaching. So I think we have to understand the concept and kind of context of why the rules doesn't seem like it has to do with the religious teaching are so impactful in our lives. Maybe it has to do with maybe the birth rate or STDs or wars or power or right, like sexual harassment that happened, or because I think during the war the country can be strong if there are more children, and homosexual couples don't necessarily welcome or generate population. So that could have been seen as against the will of the power of the country. So I think we have to study each context, and that's something that I would love to study more so that I can speak to people of different backgrounds as well.
Is there anything you would like to tell the religious leaders?
Imagine if you didn't come from the background that you came from. Maybe you don't have to follow that path. You know, just because I came from Japan and just because I'm a Buddhist monk or son of a Buddhist monk, I don't have to follow the traditional route. And well,
it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of strength to fight that.
Right. I mean, but if it's somebody coming from a extremely unprivileged background, it doesn't mean that they have to stay unprivileged and not receiving opportunities. You should be able to receive all the opportunities just like other people would. So considering that, I think you can give you can be gracious about what pressures you are receiving, because that's the reality that they had to live, and that's the only kind of like a mold that they know, possibly. And if there are options of happiness, then that's okay. And you are living in a different time and you are traveling around the world, and I'm sure that you have seen people who choose not to get married, or people who decided to get married but ended up not being happy. So I think it's good to choose your path yourself. And I know it's hard to find hard to fight the pressure, but people usually tell you what they think is the best for you based on their experience and ability. Nobody really thought that I could be, for example, Time Magazine's Next Generation Leader, because nobody around me were nominated as so. So,
and on Queer Eye, we have to talk on Queer Eye.
Yeah. So I don't even know what I can do, but, believing that I can do things, I can cultivate a happiness that's tailored for me, I think that is very important to include that in your internal conversation.
Yeah. What do you think is your calling? What is your mission? What is your purpose? Do you know what you're here?
Yes, I am an alarm clock for people to wake up. I'm here to ring the bell and make people be aware of what they are not seeing, or I'm here to kind of clarify the fog that's over people's head, that we are beyond sex, we are beyond gender, we should be able to see individuals as individuals and not categorize and not be blinded by status or success of other people, that we should always pay attention to the goodwill of other people. And that's what we should respect, not because they are wealthier or they are the boss, or I think that's something that I'm here to. And that also goes back to themselves, that they shouldn't feel inferior or not worthy because of where they are from or what they have done or how much they have or don't. So I think that's my role.
Yeah. I think also color, and that reminds me of this drawing that you have, which is all the lotuses, the different lotuses and different colors.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So as I was growing up, I had to choose backpack colors, either red or black.
Red or black?
Black. Black for male students and red for female students, usually. That's when I was 6. And I wish that there was a yellow or purple because I didn't really associate myself with heterosexual men or not really women either.
Yeah.
So I wish that there was an option for somebody who felt like a different color.
So there was no pink or blue for you?
Right. It was just 2. And I think people come in different colors. Maybe some people feel like green in the morning, maybe yellow during the afternoon and purple at night. And, it's just a ever-flowing thing. But these options were not available. Right now, when I go to department stores, there are colorful backpacks available for 6-year-olds.
Very sparkly, very glitzy.
Yes, like yellow,
wish I was a
blue,
kid again.
green, right? I'm sure I would have chosen a different color than black.
Yeah.
And Buddhist teaching, one of them called Amida Sutra, it talks about kind of like heaven, the Pure Land in Buddhist story. And it says in the pond in the Pure Land, there are different colors of lotus flowers blossoming. Blue lotus flower shines blue, red lotus flower shines red, yellow lotus flower shines yellow, white lotus flower shines white. In the scripture, it goes like, 小式小項式陽光尺式尺光白式白光. It kind of rhymes, And this, my master told me that signifies that each person should shine in their own color. And that was very powerful. And, I like flowers and colors. So this part meant like a verification for being queer or being different. Yeah. And I think if you shine in your own color, then that's when you're happiest and when you can contribute the best to other people. So it was very empowering.
You call yourself gender gifted.
Oh, yes.
What does that mean?
I think I'm gifted because I'm able to empathize and sympathize with more than just my sex, biological sex. I like playing with makeup, and when biological women, they say, oh, I never understand straight men. I don't understand them either.
Nobody understands straight men.
Right, I feel that way too. Whereas I know how it's like living in a male body, being expected to be strong or carry heavy things. Well, I don't experience menstruation, so I can kind of understand and not understand some parts of life that both genders experience. So I think I can be like a bridge so that I can talk about things that maybe biological women don't quite feel comfortable talking about or disclosing, whereas I kind of empathize, so maybe they feel a little bit more comfortable. Whereas maybe men, they might want to talk about their girlfriends, but they might not feel as comfortable asking a certain question to biological women, whereas I'm a little bit more susceptible and approachable. So I think I can be a bridge, and I can also inspire people that we are not just one sex, that we have to follow a certain personality or lifestyle. We can go beyond, because I'm living beyond that. I think it's a gift that I received, and it's a gift that I would like to share with other people.
What's the best dating advice you've given to someone who's come to you with, girlfriend problems or boyfriend problems? Have you ever given anyone dating advice? And what's the best one?
I think the best advice would be that you should be able to be yourself 100%. And then if you can be loved for being your 100%, then that's the one. If you have to pretend to be somebody else, then you have to keep pretending to be somebody else. And that's kind of like being on your tippy toe, and it's not comfortable. So if you are in pajama, or if you are, bruised or tired or wrinkly, but still be loved for your will or your spirit, then that's the one maybe.
Because so many of us want to change who we are for our partners, to be more like them, to accommodate to their interests. And I guess that's unsustainable long-term in a relationship.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
I was trying to be very like fashionable and attractive, going to the gym. I don't know, like thinking about how I looked. But then I met my husband, who didn't really care about what I wear. He cares more about my health, that I should go to the gym, not for how I look. So this type of person really made me feel comfortable, and I feel that I could be loved at any stage of my life. So if you can find somebody who you really connect with because of their soul, I think that's beyond, physical attraction,
Definitely.
So
What role does makeup play in that authenticity? Is it used as a tool for liberation? Does it make you feel like it's freeing? Is makeup freedom for you? What does it mean?
to me, I think makeup is a tool for me to be who I am, who I want to look like. And it gives me courage, because it's really fun to kind of see myself in a different version. When I was struggling with the size of my eyes when I was 18, I was able to make them look bigger with makeup, and I felt that, I could be anything I want to. And same as my career, I felt that I am only smart enough to do a little thing, but I felt that, well, you know what, maybe I can achieve something bigger. Me being transformed into somebody different, I was able to see more potential for me. And also, I think it gives an effect to other people who are looking at me, because if I look beautiful, then I could be trusted more, or maybe I could be heard more. Michelle Obama says, unfortunately, people look at what I wear and not what I have to say.
Yeah.
But if that's so, why don't I use fashion as a tool? And because of what designers she wears, I started to tune into her. And there were many articles written about what she wore. And through that, I was able to learn about childhood obesity, or the low voting rate, that were the problems.
How did you learn that? Through her fashion choices?
Because she talks about it on her Instagram, and she puts YouTube videos, and she
You
wears.
started following her for fashion, and then you tuned into the content that she was putting out, and the things that she was talking about.
Yes. So I wanted to, I was attracted to her glittery boots that she was wearing, and I clicked, and she talked about something else. And then I got interested, and I started reading more about it. So it's a tool for people to pay attention to.
Is that what you do with makeup? You use it as a tool for activism? Is makeup activism to you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. I would like to kind of normalize biological men wearing makeup, and it doesn't have to look like red lipsticks and huge lashes that often seen on drag performers. Maybe I use it to make myself look more mysterious, or more strong. It's just like paint, so you can actually make yourself look any way you want.
Yeah.
So I want to give this new take on what makeup should make you look like.
Yeah. On one hand, I've heard things like makeup is sometimes a mask. It's when you don't love your authentic self enough, that's when you feel the need to paint another layer on your face. And it's a patriarchal tool, and it's oppressive. And makeup is this marketing scheme from all the advertisements and all these beauty brands.
Yes.
So where's that fine line between makeup is for empowerment and makeup is actually just gatekeeping and upkeeping the status quo, or gatekeeping patriarchy?
I think makeup is just a paint. It's just pigment, so you can use it in any way. And if it's coming from a oppressive standpoint, then maybe you can decide not to wear makeup. I have no problem with not wearing makeup at all. You don't have to wear makeup if you don't want to. If you can amplify your voice, maybe by appearing more professional or more elegantly, then it can work for you. Maybe you're going to do a speech and you want to be respected.
What would you tell someone who doesn't feel beautiful without makeup?
Oh, I think, well, people are free to feel however they want to feel, and they feel the way they feel because of what they have seen. Maybe they have seen too much advertisements, or they have surrounded themselves with people who don't consider beautiful spirits to be beautiful enough, So I think it's important to change who they listen to or what they are exposed to. Maybe change the people you follow on Instagram, and there are people who are beautiful without makeup, and they are proud. And if you're proud without makeup, and then that shows through, if you feel like it's something you have to definitely hide, then you will start to feel that way too, and you might look not as attractive as you want to. So I think it's a matter of what you think about it. So start changing from the core, maybe.
What needs to change with makeup in terms of representation, in terms of highlighting more makeup artists from the LGBTQ community, or normalizing biological men wearing makeup and that not being limited to something that's exclusionary? How do you make it more inclusive? How do you make it more mainstream? How do you normalize this?
If you give many ideas of how makeup could be worn, because we still have a very distinctive looks for biological women and men, not just makeup, but maybe dresses or suits. And if we open up for more options, I think that can kind of play with traditional attires based on the gender. So, for example, an art supply store, it doesn't give you color based on your gender. It doesn't give you samples of achievements, like this is the painting you should paint.
Yeah.
At the paint store, but cosmetic counters do. Because of this, you should look like that. And I think that's very wrong and sad. I think you should give like a catalog, or maybe you could give like examples of techniques that you can achieve to techniques that you can apply to achieve how you want to look. So rather than giving us the looks, I think there should be environment where people can create their own looks, and makeup artists or brands should be able to facilitate how they can realize their visions.
What does beauty mean to you?
Beauty, I think, well, there is a poem by a Buddhist priest that says, flower is beautiful, moon is beautiful, but the heart that finds beauty in them is beautiful. So beauty can be seen in anywhere. I think sad movies or novels about fight, maybe these can also be beautiful because it's human emotion. So the ability to find beauty itself, I think, is beautiful.
And that's beautiful. Tell me about Queer Eye, what that was like. What was that experience? What did that mean for you?
It was a full circle moment, maybe 2 full circles, because I grew up watching Queer Eye when I was maybe 15 or 16. It was on a Japanese cable TV. And, well, they were the original Queer Eye series. And Carson Kressley, the fashion guy, was the first one who was so flamboyant, openly homosexual, and on TV helping straight men. And that was very,
Was uncomfortable
yeah, like
or disorienting?
groundbreaking for me to see somebody who is thriving, owning his sexuality. I was worried for him that maybe he could be stopped in the train, or, like what would happen if you're telling everybody that you are gay?
You projected almost the fears that you carried onto what he was doing.
Yes, but he was so like confident. And when I was working as a makeup artist in the US, I helped Miss USA and Miss Universe. And Carson was a presenter, like a backstage presenter or a judge. And I was able to help him with makeup a few times.
Was that a fanboy moment?
It was very dreamlike to see my childhood hero right in front of my face. Yes. So that was one full circle moment. And then later, like a casting call from my friend that they were looking for LGBTQ ambassador for Japan. And I auditioned and I didn't get it.
Really?
It went to somebody with like 6 million followers, like a famous Japanese model who was, who was cast. And then later I was asked if I want to be a makeup artist for the cast. And then again, I wasn't picked. But in the end, they asked me for, like, as myself appearing as a mentor alongside with Karamo. So I was like, okay, the third time truth. I don't know how you say it, but that was that. And I was able to, inspire people. And this appearance really changed my life. I received offer to write my book, and I could be noticed for what I do. And you came to talk to me because of that. And it gave me a lot of opportunities and
opened a lot of doors. Is that one breakthrough opportunity?
So it was very magical for me.
You have this beautiful knack of combining modern pop. You use modern art, you use fashion, you use pop culture, and you combine that with spirituality. How does spirituality stand the test of time today, and what does it mean in today's world?
I think there are many religions or faiths, practices, but what's most important for you, I think, for me, is to be aligned with my intuition and be able to find peace within me. Maybe by meditating, I can be more grateful. Maybe I can tame aggravated emotions better and be content with my everyday moments. And following my heart, I think, is also important. So I just want to, regardless of religious values, I want people to follow their hearts and do what they think is the best for them, and be kind to themselves and give what they deserve, really.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is kind of the spiritual string that's going in everything that I do, being a Buddhist monk, being a makeup artist, LGBTQ activist.
How does the spirituality fit in with being a makeup artist and being an LGBTQ activist?
LGBTQ activist, I think, regardless of our sexuality, we are valuable just like others.
Soul does not have a gender.
Right. Your soul doesn't really have a gender. It's me or you. It's not you're a woman, your soul is a woman. No, it's ever changing, and everybody is different. You can't really categorize because everybody is different. Every moment is different. So I don't think it has gender. I don't think it has like this. I think it's just you know. And makeup, I think, spirituality. I think believing that we are not just what we see in our mirrors, that we can feel any way we want to with fashion or makeup. And so is the future of ourselves, that it's very flexible, that it's unlimited, so that we should not define ourselves in one category or one thing, one path. So makeup allows us to kind of expand our vision.
You said for you, makeup is not
Yes.
cursory. It's more intentional. It's more with a purpose.
Right.
And you are a man with makeup on a mission.
Uh-huh. So I consider myself like a fairy godmother. I
Definitely
use
my fairy godmother. You fixed all of my flyaways. You've set my hair. You've been so
Well,
kind.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I was doing that for Miss Universe, watching the screen and making sure all the eyelashes and eyebrows are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So if you ask
Sitting
me,
with a little comb there for me as well, just fixing it.
yes. So I felt that, I feel that being a fairy godmother, I need to push somebody that they deserve to go to a, banquet or something, and you need a beautiful dress and excellent slippers to grab opportunities. So for me, I'm using makeup to empower people so that they can speak more confidently, and telling them that you are worthy enough to speak up. So that, I think, is coming from the same intention. So it's not like makeup is so materialistic, or it can be, but if you use it right for other people, or if you use it for your goals, I think it's good. You need it. You can't wear a mediocre dress to the Cinderella ball and the story won't finish, So I think you need these two, and that's my motivation. So I don't really feel like it's two different values.
Yeah, I love that, because I think a profession can be spiritual as well. And if you're doing the work that you're here to do, there's profound spirituality to be found in that, in the work that you're doing. Because I think if you're being of service to somebody else, if you're doing God's work
Thank you.
on this planet, I think that work then becomes spiritual too, and it doesn't really become separate from your identity. That means the makeup part of you is also the spiritual part of you, and that ties in with your calling and with your purpose and the mission you're here on, which is beautiful.
Thank you. And because we are talking about sustainability, I think everybody should be happy, first of all, to be sustainable. If people are oppressed, or if people are pretending to be somebody else, how can they be generous and kind to other people because they are not so happy? Yeah. So we need to respect everybody for who they are. And once everybody feels that they are worthy, I think that kind of is the base of sustainable life, that we can continue without fighting, without losing people, without interruptions. So I think people should deserve the same rights, and people should be given the same rights, so that Absolutely. It is going to be sustainable for other people.
And that's what sustainability really is for me. It starts with me. It's a practice of self-love, because everything that is sustainable is good for you, whether you're eating better food or you're wearing better clothes and you're more in touch with nature. It ties back in with who you are, and it just elevates you.
Right. It can't just be good for now. It has to be good for a long time, so that you don't lose people either.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of sustainability, is there a connection between the Sustainable Development Goals and the LGBTQ rights?
In order for people to keep working happily and grow and provide new ideas or opportunities or hopes, people need to feel safe at their workplace. And if they are able to breathe and feel pleasant, I think they can sustain themselves longer. So it's not necessarily connected to environmentalism or
but doesn't have to be.
Right.
Sustainability is so much more than the environment. It's not something that's separate from us. It's something that's a part of us.
Right.
So sustainability is also people.
Right, it's the
animals.
heart sustainability or mental health sustainability that you can keep working for your goals or with your team. And if you're marginalized or discriminated, then you can really sustain that status. So that I think is that is why it's considered sustainability. Maybe. Yeah.
What does sustainability mean to you personally? How does that apply in your fashion choices, in your makeup choices?
I think sustainability is, well, it can be like a marathon. You can't keep running. You have to take a break. You have to be healthy enough. You have to be giving back constantly so that you keep receiving. And how would I be able to do that? And making smart choices so that you don't waste and regret later, maybe.
I know you upcycle a lot of clothes that you
Yes.
wear. Please tell us more about that.
Yes, so my father has a lot of monk robes that were really old, that they had like some tears, or maybe they were too lavish with gold embroideries and phoenix and too busy, and he didn't use them. So I worked with a stylist who was passionate about upcycling, and he knew like a person who could sew. So my father's old monk garments were turned into like a nice robe or belt, or my robe got turned into pants.
That's so cool. Was he okay with you cutting away his clothes and using them
Well,
and
he
repurposing them?
was about to throw them, so I think it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really nice that I can kind of carry on the tradition, and because I'm a Buddhist monk, I can wear it without any cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
So I think it's really fun and fashionable and a very sustainable way of fashion.
What do you think of thrifting, winter shops?
Oh yes, I love thrift stores. Well, I buy a lot of clothing from secondhand places. When I do buy new things, I make sure that it's something that will last forever, hopefully. Something that doesn't go out of style, something of a good quality so that I can treasure it. Sometimes I feel like some objects might carry a story from the previous owner. For example, shoes. I feel like if you use a shoes of somebody, then you will walk in their life. So if you want to avoid that, then you can buy new pairs and you can start your own journey. If you receive something from somebody you love and you continue their story, and then you're kind of layering over their legacy. So it's very important who you receive it from also, I think.
Yeah.
That's more of my spiritual
Is there stigma in
view.
Japan about this, about buying secondhand or wearing secondhand or upcycling, repurposing? Is there some stigma?
Well, it's not a stigma, but sometimes secondhand stores don't smell the most clean, and some clothes are not as
Pristine.
right.
condition.
So, well, I think it's about choosing the right product, so that you feel good fashionably, and also economically it's more affordable, and you're not throwing anything. So you have to know like good stores, I think.
Yeah. Coming back to what we were talking about earlier, which is balancing this material life with the spiritual life. And I see a lot of rampant consumerism out here in Japan. Can you still be spiritual and want more things? Can you be spiritual and want material success? Can you be spiritual and still have a desire for things that are materialistic?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. Essentially, you don't really need too much. You just need enough to keep living. But as long as we are human, that's very difficult. I think that's why this kind of preset not to be greedy is so highlighted, because otherwise we would accomplish it so easily. We have some desire for good things sometimes. Maybe you want to save more people. Maybe you want to inspire more people. Maybe you want to get better at your language level or achieve more academic achievements. You know, it's helpful and it can be nice. So I think it's a balance. Yes, do I really need it, or is it gonna be too self-destructive because I want it too much and I don't stop? I think if you are moderate and you know when to stop, I think it's okay.
Where is Japan at the moment when it comes to same-sex marriage, when it comes to LGBTQ rights? How far behind are we?
Wow, it's a difficult question, because comparing the situation of Japan today to, well, there are over 60 countries where LGBTQ people are seen as criminals or imprisoned or even considered for death penalties
Especially
in the
Asian
world.
countries.
Right. So in that sense, we're not that brutal or tough. Well, we are in a tough situation, but comparing it to other countries where LGBTQ people are thriving and given freedom and rights, then it could be considered behind. I'm just happy that I can feel safe enough to hold hands with my husband on the street. I am not penalized. I can live with him, even though he didn't get a legal rights to live in Japan, just like other married.
Did you get married in Japan? Was that?
No, in Colombia.
You got married in Colombia?
Right. So my husband is from Colombia, and we got married in 2023 on September.
Oh, very recently. Congratulations.
Thank you. So he had to get a work permit in order to live here because he couldn't get the spouse visa.
Is he recognized as your husband in this country?
No, but we have like a same-sex partnership, so that we do have in Tokyo.
Is that constitutional?
It's not national law, so it's not gonna do anything for his residency or passport. But if we want to rent, for example, public, like of the jurisdiction, housing, or maybe hospital or insurance of a private company, then we might be eligible. So it's not as powerful, but it's better than nothing. But by having these partnerships, I think many people are pressuring the court to legalize same-sex marriage.
Is there any message that you have for world leaders, religious leaders, Asian countries, in terms of how we can do better when it comes to our law, our constitution, and our policies?
You are not going to lose by freeing people. You will only gain and be respected. And happier people means happier country. So you have to know that giving happiness, you are going to be happier.
Do you have a message for someone who's struggling, who hasn't come out of the closet yet, who's facing all of these pressures?
You're not alone. You don't have to come out. Just find one friend who you can be with yourself. And sometimes one friend is just enough to support your mental health and tell yourself that you're not wrong or inferior. You are worthy. And just explore people who are feeling the same way as you. And I think with that, you can keep living another day.
How do you go from self-hatred, self-doubt to self-acceptance?
Well, I think it's very important to listen to stories of many people, because everybody, even if you are extremely successful, wealthy, or established, people always doubt themselves. I was able to meet many successful people who are wealthy or famous, and when they open up when they open up to me, they still doubt themselves. Or it's a continuing journey. You can stop it today, or you can keep it for your life. So I think it's a matter of knowing that it's not just you. It's something just like just like the weather. Sometimes it rains, sometimes there's thunder, there's like a rainy season, sometimes you have drought, and you forget that you had self-doubt, you know? So I think it's a continuing climate as long as we are alive.
Did you go through that as well? Did you go through periods of self-doubt, self-hatred?
Yes, always.
How did you get out of it?
Just wait for the sunny day and just, play video games or share with friends, and they tell me, oh, that happens to me too, and I feel like, okay, let's get chocolate and relax and sleep. And I just when I'm physically restored, I tend to feel a little bit better. Sometimes I watch musicals or movies or these arts, friends, food, they nourish my heart also.
Yeah. Do you have any insecurities today? Have you fully accepted who you are? Have you accepted all of your identities? Or is there anything that's still a work in progress for you?
At this moment, I feel pretty content. I know imperfection is perfectly fine for everybody. So because I know that I don't feel like there are insecurities about my identity, because we can never be categorized. We are always work in progress. So to be okay with work in progress, I think makes me feel somewhat comfortable.
What is the definition of self-love?
Self-love.
And how does one practice self-love?
I think self-love, treating yourself as somebody that you love. Maybe if you have your favorite person or mother or a partner or like pets, you decide to give the same amount of love to yourself and valuing yourself, that you're doing the best you can, and treating yourself when you need, being gentle and kind. I think that's self-love.
That's the basis of your book. Would you like to tell us more about your book?
Oh, sure. So my book is called This Monk Wears Heels, Be Who You Are. I wanted to write a book that supports people who are feeling different or isolated because of societal pressure, or people who you surround yourself with. And I wanted to give my version of how I became comfortable with my identity and share some teachings of Buddhism. So I'm very proud and happy that I was able to inspire many people. I received messages, and now this is available in 8 languages.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you're feeling like you don't have anybody who support you, this book will.
I'm sure I hope a lot of people find comfort and belonging in this and discover self-love and who they are and learn to embrace identity with this. I definitely am. I can't wait to read this.
Yes, I hope you enjoy it. It's very easy. It's very light read. I intended it to be like an email for my best friend. Yeah. So it's not gonna give you headaches or you're not gonna get sleepy. There is also an audiobook, so if you're not a reader, you can also listen to my voice reading this book too.
Sometimes I think that's the most impactful way, when it's not coming from a preachy point of view, when it's not coming, from a technical point of view even, and it's just coming as a friendly voice. Yes. I think that can have a much, much deeper impact.
Yeah.
And stay with you.
I think rather than reading a very academic book, a message from your friend is more going to resonate with you more, or is gonna remain in you. And I think my book is a little bit like that.
Is it sassy? Is it funny?
It's friendly, warm, calming, encouraging.
Okay. Have you watched Bollywood movies?
A lot.
Really? Which one? Tell me your favorite Bollywood movie.
I like PK.
Yeah? PK is a very good movie.
Barfi. 3kg.
Yeah? K3G. K3G. I was like, I was thinking for a second as well.
Sorry.
K3G.
Kareena Kapoor is so beautiful.
I hope she sees this.
Yes, I know. I like the music, I think.
That's our
What's his
USP.
name?
Anyone breaks out into a dance in the middle of a movie, that's what we do best.
Oh, amazing. Arjit Singh?
Arijit Singh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to him a lot.
Really? You like his
Yes.
music? Wow,
Yes.
he's one of the best singers for sure.
One with Deepika Chopra.
Deepika Padukone?
Oh, sorry.
So Deepika Padukone or Priyanka Chopra? So Priyanka Chopra is
Oh
the
my
one who's
God,
married
I'm
to
sorry. Amazing. I love Deepika
Deepika Padukone?
Padukone
Yeah.
and one with
Priyanka Chopra?
that also I like Barfi. So that's what's his name? Ranbir Kapoor,
Yes.
right?
You know that.
So there is one movie with Ranbir and Deepika,
Yeah.
and a story is like they go into the mountain, like they fall in love, and I don't remember.
That's so cute.
I don't
Very
remember the
short
name
film.
of the movie, but
That's not Barfi was something else.
Barfi I like.
Yeah.
The soundtrack I love it.
So Barfi actually means a sweet. It's a traditional Indian sweet. That's what, yeah, so that's Barfi, but that's also the name of the movie.
Right.
What's the difference between Japanese movies? If you watched a lot of Bollywood movies and if you compare that, if you watched a lot of Bollywood movies and if you compare that to Japanese culture, what's the key difference?
I think the Bollywood movies are usually happy ending, no?
Somewhat.
Some like
Majority of
dramatic,
Yeah.
but usually there is something good happens in the end, or I don't know, some awakening or
Yeah.
something refreshing. But in Japan, I think there is a beauty of like ephemeral subtleness or sadness or subtle. I don't know. It's a little bit deep and kind of nuanced.
Yeah.
For example, we have a lot of like Ghibli movies are about environmentalism, or
Really?
yes, it's kind of makes us feel like, okay, that's the end.
So it's not the doom and gloom. It's more the end of the world is coming. It's not about hope. It's not about
Not
a positive
necessarily.
message.
There is a animation called Pompoko, which is the onomatopoeia for raccoons drumming their stomach. And in the end, they say, well, we raccoons, we can transform into humans using a leaf of a tree. It's like a magic that they do. It's like they are considered like magical animals that they can transform into something else. And they transform into humans, also foxes. And they say, well, our deforestation continues, and some of the raccoons we can transform into humans and live in the human society. But what happens to rabbits and deers who can't transform? And they ask that question, and that's the end of the movie.
That is depressing.
Right? But this movie is about like humor, and it's a cute story that they transform into people, and they surprise people, and sometimes they think that it's a advertisement for a new amusement park, and they get depressed that, oh, this is what we did, we are actually raccoons making all these beautiful transformations. So it's a funny movie, but I mean there is an essence of maybe like the sadness of wars or
Climate change. In Japan, do people talk about climate change? Is that taken seriously? What's the perspective on environmentalism in Japan, according to you?
I think we recycle garbage more compared to how I used to see in the US, especially New York.
It's a very clean city.
I think so. Well, I didn't study too much about environmentalism or recycling as much as I would like to, comparing to different countries.
Yeah.
But I think people are pretty responsible when it comes to putting things in the right place.
What about LGBTQ? What about the representation of LGBTQ in Japanese pop culture, anime, Anything else? Like, is it
I would like to see more.
has it increased?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
Because when I'm in the US, I see RuPaul's Drag Race, Pose, a lot of dramas and fashion cultures that talk about LGBTQ rights. I see a lot of LGBTQ clubs at universities. Corporations have LGBTQ communities, but that I don't really see as much as I would like to in Japan.
Is it because it's more subdued? It's people don't talk about it, people
Right.
don't like talking about it? Is it?
Maybe it's too much. I don't know. People
I
are
think it's
very
gonna be you.
conservative.
You're gonna be the one starring in the show. You're gonna be the one
Maybe.
doing that with Netflix. I see it happening already in my.
Thank you so much.
It's gonna be Queer Eye Japan Part 2.
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm manifesting that for you.
Thank you so much. You know, I do hair and makeup and mindset.
Look in my hair.
Thank
All you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would love to see more marginalized communities being recognized and acknowledged and respected. It's not only LGBTQ people, but maybe people who are neurodiverse or people who are living with conditions that we don't even know yet. So I think we need to keep looking so that people are feeling valued.
Speaking of that, I'd love to end with teachings of Buddhism. What are the lessons that you hold super close to your heart and how you impact that in the world that we live in today?
Well, I think religion was created originally to help people and not to marginalize anybody. It helps us to center ourselves and follow our hearts. One of my favorite teachings that I remember is it's a sin to lie to your heart, and it kind of gives me courage whenever I'm choosing to follow my heart. What's unfortunate is that when it's supposed to help people, it marginalizes people, which is like if religion was compared to a knife created to serve food for many people, some people decide to pick it up and threaten and hold power, and keep it away from other people, which is not right. So I just want people to make sure that you don't just blindly follow what religious leaders tell you, but we see the context of how the religion came to be, what's the history, why do we have certain rules, why do we follow some values that religious teachers tell us? Do we decide to follow them, or do we know better?
Is there a difference between religion and spirituality?
Yes, I think religion is something that you learn from other people, and spirituality is something that you find in yourself. You don't really need somebody teaching you stories or how to believe. Spirituality is something that you gain throughout your experience or self-exploration. Religion, on the other hand, I think it's something that requires other people. So I think that's the difference. But for me, spirituality is more important because I would like to define what I do or how I follow my life. And I don't need to be determined how to live by others, which sometimes religion tell us to do.
Yeah.
So I think we can refer to religious teachings, but we have the final say of how we live.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I have a friend in New Zealand who told me about this theory, which is the and theory, which means two opposite things can coexist at the same time and they don't have to be at war with each other. And I think so many of us have a hard time accepting two different personalities, two opposite sides of our personalities. You can be somebody else professionally, you can be somebody completely different personally in your personal life. But we seem to want to fit people into cages in one box and have that uniform identity. But you honestly embody that and theory, and you do it so beautifully and you do it so well. And thank you for making it okay for these different identities to not just coexist but to thrive. and to do that with a mission, with an impact, and to empower people and to spread the message of self-love and non-discrimination throughout.
Thank you so
It was an
much.
honor. It was an absolute honor talking to you. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm
Thank
very
you.
grateful. And thank you for fixing my hair. More
Thank
than anything
you.
else. Thank you.
And I can't wait to visit India.
I can't wait to have you in India and to host you and show you my beautiful country and where Buddhism comes from, and
Right.
for you to unpack that and see how different it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll see you again in India.
You will see me in
Yes.
India for sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
you.